John Cravens, Michael Johnson, Bobby Grimm, and Jocelyn Irby and Michael Johnson for ADR, negotiation, mediation, and arbitration.
Good evening. How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
I'm John Cravens.
Jocelyn Irby.
Pleasure to meet you, Jocelyn. John Cravens.
Michael Johnson.
Pleasure to meet you, Michael. Robert Grimm.
Michael
Please.
Johnson. Pleasure to meet you.
There we go.
There you go. Is it okay if I call you John and do you prefer Bobby or Robert?
Robert will be fine.
Okay, good.
Then Michael and Jocelyn's okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and get this started if you guys don't mind.
Absolutely.
What exactly are you guys looking for?
Well, for one thing, we'd like to say thank you. We actually, I believe as you're aware, were able to land a new deal with CompuCom. We've sold the company, and now our client is the new division vice president at CompuCom. I think the one thing that we had outstanding here was the agreement with respect to helping us find a new corporation. And as I understand it, it was a $350,000 agreement. Is that, I think, where we're netting out is what we supposedly owe you all?
Yes,
That is
that's
net.
the primary dispute.
Net. Yeah, that's where we come. I mean, of course, there was commission involved and everything else like that
Right.
for a firm underwriting agreement like something like this. And there was, I believe, close to $740,000 in commissions, $40,000 up front, plus $700,000 in commissions for the $10 million sale, 5% for, 5% for the first
But
5
these-
million, 2% for the next 5 million. But
These
this,
were just all contractually obligations. That's
Right.
aside from what we're doing here. So
Right.
just can we agree that, those commissions are aside, and this, as you said, the primary contention is for the $350,000.
Yeah, I think that's what
we can agree to that? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Before we get that, this Ron Edwards guy, where the hell did y'all find him at?
You know what? It's,
Ron has actually been a part of the company for some time. So as far as as far as what may or may not have happened in the actual exchange of the meeting, that's a little bit of kind of off topic as far as
No,
as
it's
far as
No, it's hard. We're completely firm and stand by his work product. Unfortunately, there seemed to be some disagreement with him and your clients. So what we did is we removed him from the actual process of this entire thing. However, we still stand by his work product and what he did for your clients.
Okay.
And what exactly do you understand his work product to be in this situation?
He actually put together a pricing schedule between, I believe it was 15 million and 12.5 million, 12.5 million being fair market value and $15 million being a very optimistic, maybe just reaching for the stars, if you will, a little bit as far as pricing goes for the company.
But I think, as you can appreciate, for your client, he would have preferred to get the maximum amount that they could.
Of course, we always prefer to get the maximum amount in the situation. But just to be clear, that valuation analysis, that was a part of the initial $40,000 fee that our client has already paid, correct? And then the commission came from brokering a deal.
The commission came from brokering the deal. The $40,000 was an initial fee. We are willing to discuss that as far as moving forward being part of the overall fee, but we still think originally when we went into this agreement that was kind of a down payment, if you will, a processing fee for us to actually underwrite the deal. So I'm not saying that we won't look at it in best faith with you guys, but what I'm saying is that really that was an upfront fee.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's completely fine. That's completely fine. So there's the possibility that that upfront fee, when we balance that against the question that she asked, what is it that you all understood that Edwards actually did other than that? We're just curious to know what else we're getting out of this deal for what we're paying.
Well, the fact of the matter is, you You're talking about essentially a fee that was paid to get the ball rolling. We provided you with the materials to essentially get more than what your client went outside the bounds of the original contract to do. It's not so much outside the bounds of it, rather he just went on his own reins to find his own buyer. Now, with respect to the fee that we're talking about, the fee was part of the contract as far as being able to, again, get it started. That has nothing to do with the expenses and the time spent outside of the agreement.
Okay. Now, with respect.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's what I was gonna say, with respect to that time spent. I mean, a number of months passed by, I heard absolutely nothing from Edwards. I tried to contact this guy, he was like off the map. And we actually, our client had to go out and seek his own deals. And just by happenstance, after we were able to find our first potential buyer, he surfaces, brings a supposed deal to the table that was considerably less than what he had actually evaluated the company for.
And less than the deal that we had
But if I may,
negotiated.
as counsel yourselves, are you in contact with your clients on a regular basis?
I'm sorry?
Of your clients that you have as attorneys, are you in contact with them on a regular basis?
As necessary for whatever business. that was-
If we
Absolutely, I
have
would
an
agree with that.
if we have an active situation going on with our client, we are regularly in contact with them.
Absolutely.
That means talking to them more than once every 8 months.
Let me ask you a question. As far as, say, underwriting a deal,
Mhm.
and how much effort did your client put into doing this? Did he just pick up the phone and just start doing it when our supposed client did not?
Yeah, it's kind of what happened. The amount of time passed,
Okay.
and we kind of like, okay, well, this guy is not returning
And did-
calls. We got to get out. We're trying to sell this.
Okay,
sell
did
this car. Sure.
he use his personal contacts or reach out to other people that he knew might have interest for the company? I don't, the reason why I ask, not to answer my own question, but it was slightly rhetorical, it being that when underwriting a deal, it is difficult to find buyers, and when you're bringing a deal to the street, it is sometimes complex in finding the capital to actually take care of that, let alone finding it to match up what the true valuation of your company is. And if there's not immediate demand for that, then sometimes the price will fluctuate. So while our guys look at the basis of your client's company and what the actual value is at that time and what the snapshot might have been, overall demand for that company might be less than what we're looking at. So upon bringing that to the street, he might have found that, not saying whether he did or he didn't, but what I'm saying is that might have happened, and where your client may have gone to personal connections, something like that, where he knew he could find money, and he still accepted an offer below what we felt, or our client felt the valuation was.
Is there any particular reason why he was taking off the deal and kind of excused from this whole?
It was simply your clients just kind of aversion to him.
The reaction to him that we received while in the meeting, he was shoved to the side at that point. We just essentially wanted to distance him while still taking care of our client, i.e. your client, in the best possible way so we could fulfill our contract obligations as best we could.
So all that being said, I think all we need to do here is figure out what's the best number that we can agree upon, because we kind of just need to get past this. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree with that.
That's what we're here for.
I think the 350 number is a reasonable number. That's what we contracted to. Why would you or your client feel that 350 is inappropriate?
Well, the major reason is that our client was able to work this deal out herself, himself, and it was the fact that he had to do that because your client failed to contact him for 8 months. He didn't return phone calls. He didn't just get called to give an update, even an update to say, hey, I'm looking, but I can't find anybody. There was zero contact for 8 months.
But if I may have to appreciate the situation that whenever we did find somebody, he did bring it to your attention. Now, I understand that y'all believe it was last moment, and your client believes that it was perhaps a hoax. We can assure you the client was real. The client was able to or willing to agree to our estimated numbers, which were far higher than what your client was able to find.
Well, our record showed that the client that the bidder that y'all offered was offering less than the deal that our client had brokered.
And again, I've explained kind of the fundamentals of underwriting and the way the deals come down. And so absolutely, there was a chance that what we were able to broker or our client was able to broker upon that was less than what you guys were. But per contract, I believe that, and I may quote, that the fee will be payable if BingoWare is sold during the term of the agreement, regardless whether it is sold to a buyer proposed by Bucks. In other words, if it was not proposed by us, it does not matter as far as the fee.
Oh, that's
And
clear.
again, these costs that we're discussing in $350,000 are costs that were incurred through that contract and through the sale of that.
Well, I'm not going to buy off on that, because if I would have got a $5 million deal, we'd be sitting here talking about another amount of money. It wouldn't be the 350. So I'm not going to buy that you guys spent 350 on that. But what I would like to do, if you guys are amenable to it, how much of an appetite do y'all have for going to court on this?
We will if necessary, as I'm sure you can agree.
Do you want to go to court?
If necessary.
We don't. Do you all want to go to court?
We prefer not to if we can come to an amenable settlement. So,
All right. Okay. So what we're looking at here, as long as Mr. Edwards isn't a part of anything going forward, our client's the new division president. Now, granted, our company has an investment bank. We're, of the mindset that there could be some potential consulting available for your company, because we believe that while his valuation was faulty, we do kind of have the sense that it set a bar. It set a bar, and ultimately we ended up getting $10 million for the company. So that being said, I think long term we can have a relationship here, and that long term relationship could be hinged upon us being able to stay out of court on this matter.
Okay. That is something we can be agreeable to, I feel.
the reality of it is going to court will harm both sides more than help.
Absolutely.
I think we can all agree on that.
If we're talking about a future agreement, I would want it to be in writing, consultatory, of course, but if that's the case, in writing, as you guys need it for our client, as well as we will not at any point or any time admit that our client did anything that was faulty, as you just mentioned. In other words, his valuation was at the time what we believe the corporation was valued for, and it happened that you found a lesser value, and that was what the market could bear at that time.
Okay. So, short of the 350, which we clearly, unless you disagree, are not comfortable paying that out, is there a number that you're comfortable with, that you think if you balance your potential litigation costs against this, that you may be willing to settle for?
And I was hoping you would present that, considering that we had the 350 and that was our base fee, and that you were considering an alternative. I was hoping you would bring that to the table.
Well, that is the usual way it goes, but considering the fact that I think that there's an indefinite positive side to some potential consulting business for Bucks and Associates. I kind of like, do you guys want to do business in the future? I think that's what it
But
comes to.
there is no guarantee here. If you didn't confirm or deny us asking for a long-term contract as far as consulting goes.
No, I did not confirm or deny that. I would be more comfortable that you're showing a good faith effort to resolve this, and we'll ink something after we come to an agreement.
So if we're to come to an agreeable dollar amount, then you'd be willing to ink something?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I will accept your word on that.
Okay.
We're all here in good faith.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
What do you
So to
think?
the initial
Robert?
numbers, as you mentioned before, 40,000 was paid up front, so we can go ahead and tie that into the 350 that we're asking for. That subtracted is 310. And the truth of the matter is, in order to avoid some of this litigation, as I think we discussed earlier,
Mhm.
it's in our both of our interests. $100,000 is going to be spent, so in order to avoid the litigation, we can just mark that off the table as well. Also, in the interest of future business and.
So you're bringing your number down to 210, is that what I'm
Correct.
hearing? Okay.
210.
The 210.
So you also have to
Minus-
realize that our expenses at that
350
point.
minus 40.
350 minus 40. So 310 minus, which is about 100.
Yeah,
so
for the estimated
210.
litigation costs.
I still think that's a little high, since all we've accounted for is the previous fee and the litigation costs. I think we might be able to, if we're able to give you business, putting business on the table, we may be able to reach a
I would say.
agreement that takes
I'm
that into
sorry,
consideration, sorry.
No, I'm sorry, Dawson, I didn't mean to cut you off. And I understand what you're saying, and I do. But I also think that to remove litigation, our case is very strong, to be honest. We did an underwriting, we did this, we don't want to go to court. We would all like to settle this, but our case is incredibly strong. So if we did go to court, unfortunately, attorney fees in the state are taken out from the loser, so it would cost you not only our 100,000, but your 100,000. So what I'm saying in this is that attorney's fees plus that, I would be willing to consider that $100,000 right there is consideration for future business.
Because essentially you're looking at $450,000 if we took it to court.
I think that might be a misstatement of the law
Well,
because
I
you pay your own court costs.
believe
Right,
the
but-
rule is
Loser,
each
you pay your
party
own
pays
court.
their own.
So you would have 100,000 of your own litigation expenses.
No, our litigation expenses are nowhere even approaching that.
No?
No, not even close. Not even close.
Well, whatever your litigation expenses are, we've prepared a thorough case, and that's why we're so confident that we will prevail.
I mean,
As-
I would. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, that being said, we're not arguing, we want you to pay all these expenses. We're just putting it in a realistic perspective, because we have to recoup the expenses that we've incurred in providing services to your client. So our expenses, essentially at this point, we're only pulling 10,000 in profit out. So as far as workers hourly and expenses are concerned. So, like I said, we certainly want to reach an amenable agreement. And I mean, if this number is, by all intents and purposes, beyond fair in our eyes. I mean, but we would love to hear any other suggestions that are realistic, because we do want to pursue the future business between the companies.
And you'll excuse my misstatement of the law. That was a very good catch on your part, by the way.
That's quite all right.
No, it's quite all right. It's okay. Occasionally, in my old age and my gray hair, occasionally that gets away from me. But I appreciate you guys caught that for me. So in other words, let's discuss about the potential of, we were at 210. We just cut $140,000 off of our fee. That is sizable. That is a little under 50% of our fee off. for something that, whilst it might be a large amount, but it's still, you guys still are able to, and our client was still able to facilitate the sale of your company per contract.
Right. And I absolutely, I'll agree that the way the contract's written, the law is on your side. But this could, if we could get this to a jury, you know, the result, anything goes when it goes to a jury. You guys know that just.
But this is a question of law, not a fact.
But when it goes to a jury, the jury has that decision to make whatever they think is appropriate, the remedy in this particular situation.
What is your idea? You guys been jotting down on that notepad. Michael, if I may, what is your idea?
You know what, we're thinking, and do you disagree?
No, that looks good.
Okay, so we're gonna take that 40, that belongs to you all. That should not even be part of the discussion, because
Okay.
that was off the top, that belongs to you all. That's basically for inking the deal. That's the 40. We're prepared to